This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Afreilchen Shushan Purim Katan. So the question is are there any ramifications of the 15th of Adar Aleph? It's a very important Ramah. The Ramah in the last Siman in our Chaim, he brings that there's a Yesh Oimrim that one is Chayiv to be Marbe b'Mishta v'Simcha on the 14th of Adar Rishon. The Ramah says we're not knowing this way, but the Ramah concludes Yarbe K'tzas b'Seuda. The whole discussion of the Ramah is only the 14th of Adar Aleph. The Ramah doesn't say one word about the 15th. And the Berheitev is Medayik, quoting the Beis Yosef. Clearly the Ramah holds, Avaloi b'Tezvav, not on the 15th. According to the Ramah, there seems to be no inyan to celebrate the 15th. Now, the question is, you could clear in the Ramah, when the Ramah says that Davka, the 14th, and not the 15th, does the Ramah mean because most cities that Ramah is referring to are Bnei Ayaros. So for the Bnei Ayaros, there's no inyan of celebrating the 15th. Even though the Ramah said earlier that when it comes to Seudas Purim, that there's a chiyuv to be marbe k'tzas. In Siman Tafrei Tzadikei, in Sif Beis, Ramah says, chayiv b'mishta b'simcha k'tzas b'shnei yomim yudad v'tesvav. That the Bnei Ayaros are chayiv on tesvav. So it's interesting things, important to point out. There's actually a chiyuv Seuda on Shushan Purim for the Bnei Ayaros k'tzas. So is the Ramah saying that for the Bnei Ayaros, there is only a chiyuv on Purim Katan, but not Shushan Purim Katan. But maybe the Krachim, let's say Yerushalayim, maybe there would be Shushan Purim Katan for the Bnei Krachim. In other words, why does the Ramah Dafka say Yadalad? Is that because that's a typical case? But in fact, for the Bnei Krachim, they would celebrate the 15th of Adar Aleph, or do the Bnei Krachim also not celebrate Purim, not celebrate the 15th of Adar Aleph? So the Mishnah Berurah quotes the Pri Megadim that says an even bigger chiddush. The Mishnah Berurah in Siman Tafrei Tzag Zayin Sif Daled, Sif Katan Daled, quotes the Pri Megadim that Af L'Krachim Hamukafim Chayma, they do not celebrate the 15th of Adar Rishon. Now the Pri Megadim is a very big chiddush, because technically you could have said, as the Beis Yosef says, that perhaps, where does the Makar come from that we don't celebrate the 15th of Adar Rishon? The Makar comes from the Gemara, the Beis Yosef says. That says, Ein bein Yudalid Adar Rishon li Yudalid Adar Sheni. So that implies the Gemara saying that that there are certain halachic ramifications of Yudalid Adar Aleph, but the Gemara doesn't discuss Tesvav. So apparently Tesvav Adar Aleph is not recognized at all. But then the Beis Yosef says maybe because most cases you're celebrating the 14th. So the Beis Yosef himself has the possibility that it could be for the Bnei Krachim, they would celebrate the 15th of Adar Aleph. And yet, the Pri Megadim is Mechadesh that the din of the Ramah, that we only celebrate Yudalid Adar Aleph, is for everybody, including the Bnei Krachim. So it comes out according to the Pri Megadim, the Minchas Yitzchak in Chelek Yud, Siman Non Ches, points out that according to the Ramah, it would come out a very big chiddush, because typically we know the Bnei Krachim, let's say somebody in Yerushalayim doesn't celebrate Yudalid, right? Somebody who lives in Yerushalayim celebrates Tesvav, doesn't celebrate Yudalid. But that's in Adar Sheni. In Adar Aleph, there's only one Purim Katan, Yudalid. There are no two Purim Katanim lahalacha. In other words, the Bnei Yerushalayim that don't celebrate Yudalid Adar Beis, they will only celebrate Yudalid Adar Aleph. That's the summary of the Minchas Yitzchak. However, the Minchas Yitzchak brings the Levush and has a very interesting chakira in the Levush, because the language of the Levush in Siman Tafrei Tzaddik Zayin is regarding, he's discussing Yudalid and Tesvav Adar Rishon, and he says, "U'mitzvah laharbois bohem mishta v'simcha." It's a mitzvah to increase in them. What's bohem? So the Eliyah Rabbah is medayik that the Levush holds. There's a mitzvah not only to be marbe b'Seuda on Yudalid, there's a mitzvah to be marbe b'Seuda b'Tezvav Adar Aleph. So here, for the first time, we have a dissenting view to the Ramah. The Ramah holds that Tesvav is nothing, according to the Pri Megadim, even for the Bnei Krachim. And the Levush says no, it's a mitzvah laharbois bohem, including Tesvav. Now you could clear in the Levush. When Levush says there's a mitzvah to be marbe b'Tesvav, does he mean For the Bnei Krachim, there's a mitzvah l'harbais b'tesvav, but not for the ayarais. I would say the Levush who doesn't qualify, and Levush is talking to all of Klal Yisrael, and he doesn't specify. L'chayra, he means to everyone. There's a mitzvah l'harbais bahem, to everyone. The Eliyah Rabbah adds, it could be that the Ramah agrees to Levush, that it's a mitzvah to be marbe even on Tesvav. The Ramah only says Yudalit. The Eliyah Rabbah says that's the kavan of why the Ramah adds the Toiv Leiv Mishta Tamid, he's being marbe Tesvav even for the Ayarais. But according to the baseline halacha in the world of Levush, you could declare based on the following. Levush says it's a mitzvah to be marbe on Tesvav. What does the Levush mean? See, he's arguing on the Ramah. So if Pshat in the Ramah is the way the Pri Megadim learns the Ramah, that the Ramah is saying there's no inyan of Tesvav Adar Aleph at all, even for the Bnei Krachim, then it could be the Levush's just adding, there's an inyan of Tesvav for the Bnei Krachim. But if one would learn the Ramah, not like the Mishnah Berurah, more the way the Beis Yosef seemed to declare, that maybe all the Ramah means is there's no inyan of Tesvav for the Ayaros, but of course there would be L'Bnei Krachim. Then what the Levush would be adding is that there's an inyan of Tesvav even for the Ayarais. So the upshot is as follows. That for Yud Daled Adar Aleph, there is an inyan for everyone to celebrate, both Bnei Ayaris and the Bnei Krachim. That's how the Minchas Yitzchak understands the Mishnah Berurah. When it comes to Tesvav, the Shita of the Ramah, according to the Mishnah Berurah, is even the Bnei Krachim do not celebrate Tesvav. However, according to Levush, there might be an inyan even for the Bnei Ayaros to celebrate Tesvav. So maybe we could just add that based on the Chassam Sofer, and the Minchas Yitzchak quotes the Chassam Sofer as well, that it could be making a Zecher on Purim is a Din D'Oraisa. So maybe we could apply the rule, Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra, and therefore the Ramah ends off, Leiv Tov Mishta Tamid, and according to that line of reasoning, then there would be an inyan, at least laharbas ktsas besuda, even on Tesvav Adar Rishon. Wishing everyone a freilichen Shushan Purim Katan.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.